one more round. Salut, comment ça va? Welcome back everybody to the Club de Foot Montreal career mode. We have taken the French-Canadian side from the MLS. We brought them over to the French League. We have won 2 French League titles. And here, in our final ever FC25 career mode season, we are looking to become the first non-European side to win the UEFA Champions League. I can't believe it's here, lads. This is the last season of manager career mode this year. What a crazy year it's been. Between the Celtic career mode, the Manchester United career mode, and this career mode here with Montreal, I have had so much fun. I can't believe we're here at the end, but I really want to go out with a positive. I don't want to harp on too much about any negatives, but we ended FC24 with bitter disappointment not winning the Champions League. I don't want that to be the case here in FC25. We've won it in our 2 previous career modes, but I would not be happy if we ended this career mode without that European title in our trophy cabinet. So, I said I'd do a little preview episode here for Season 5. Sometimes when I do the transfer side of things and the gameplay side of things in one episode, I find that it gets quite rushed, so I wanted to dedicate an episode to showing you our Champions League fixtures and the signings we've made in the transfer window. And then tomorrow we will have the first game of Season 5. So this is more of a preview than it is a gameplay episode, just to give you a heads up. But as you can see here, we will be in the Champions League again. I will only be showing Champions League games this season too. I'll be simming every game in the league, similar enough to last year. I'll be honest, lads, I don't really care if we win the league title again. I should say. I know that sounds really bad. I just want to win the Champions League. This was never about winning the treble. This was all about winning the French League title and then winning the Champions League. So we've already done one and we've done it twice. Let's try and win this European Cup. So as you can see here, we will be kicking things off against Slavia Praha away from home. So then if we scroll down here as well, we have some big games coming up after that. A rematch of the Champions League quarter-final of last season against Real Madrid, the team that did knock us out. Hopefully we can get some revenge here and get 3 points against them here in the league phase. This next game, though, is going to be very, very interesting. Arsenal away from home. Listen, that's a big enough game on its own. Of course, Arsenal are a very strong team. They'll also be looking for their first Champions League title, so 2 teams that are desperate to win this competition. But, of course, they did sign Maurice Rocket Richard from us. I'm not going to reveal it in this episode, but when we do play Arsenal, you will not believe Maurice Rocket Richard's rating. Let's just say I have a really bad feeling he's going to come back to haunt us. So match day 3 of the Champions League is going to be anything but easy. Match day 4 then is in November, away from home against Athens. So I feel like we played quite a lot in the Celtic career mode, if memory is serving me correctly. Another tough game then after that as we play Juventus. They travel to the Olympic Stadium. Bucharest then travel to Montreal in December. After that, I think it's our only game that month. Yes, it is. And then our last 2 games in January, away from home against Napoli. So coming up against Scott McTominay again. And then we have our final game against Villarreal at home. So some very tough games in there, but we've had quite a good showing in the Champions League group phase in the last couple of seasons, so hopefully that will continue into this 5th and final season. And in terms of our starting 11, this is how it is looking. We've made a few changes, we've brought in a few names. There's one player on the bench that you might be a little bit surprised about, but don't worry, he's still going to be a crucial part of this team. I just wanted to put the players who are the highest rated in the main starting 11, but of course we'll be rotating around the more we advance through. Sami Zayn still between the sticks, Konate, Kevin Owens and Yoro still the back 3. Kevin Owens, I'm not going to lie, I'm still not against selling him. We could make a shit ton of money from selling Kevin Owens. Fantastic player, absolutely magnificent in one-on-one situations, but bloody hell he loves to get sent off in big games. So in January, if I feel like he's still a liability, maybe we cash in on him and we can improve this squad even further. Kone and Zaire Emery still in the midfield. Bakayoko has been signed to go on the right hand side. I was a little bit on the fence about whether I sell Shattelan or not. it was taken out of my hands, and I will explain more when I show you the transfer fee we paid for players and the fees that we received for certain players. But Bakayoko, the Belgian winger, has been signed. He will be playing on the right hand side, and this man, who I actually wanted to sign last season, has now joined us this season. Jeremy Doku, another Belgian winger, has joined us, not from Manchester City, but we actually signed him from Brighton. So he'd already moved club once in this save, and now he is a Club de Foot Montreal player. I'm very, very excited to use him in this save. GSP and CDK still our number 10s, and we have brought in the Canadian striker Jonathan David. Now, yes, he is from Ontario, he is from a rival of Quebec, but listen, in this series, Montreal are representing all of Canada and all the French-speaking nations in this series, so rivalry is put aside in this career mode. But again, a guy who is a bit of a career mode gem, but I've actually only ever used him once or twice, so I don't have a lot of experience using Jonathan David. Guessan, our last striker, or our striker who we used last season, as well as our main man Esteban Lepal, he was okay. I just found that he missed a lot of big chances, and as much as I love Esteban Lepal, he missed quite a few chances as well last season, so I still feel like we needed a better striker to rotate around with, and Jonathan David for me fit the bill perfectly. We have a couple of new faces on the bench as well, I think, or maybe actually in the reserves. It's been a few days since I've actually touched this save, I'm not going to lie, so I've actually had to remind myself of some of the signings. We did also bring in Cisse here, another midfielder, but the bench, oh yeah, Gray, he has come back from loan. He was out on loan, I think, at Dallas, I want to say, in the MLS, up to a 77 rating, so quite a decent backup winger. Fofana as well has dropped to the bench, another Belgian winger. 3 Belgian wingers now in the team, and we have quite a history with Belgium on this channel. If you know, you know. But having him as a backup, honestly, I'm really, really happy with that, because he is a quality player. I was tempted to get another attacking midfielder as a backup, but I think for now, having GSP and CDK as the starters is the right way to go, and LaMarchal and Mercier as the backups. Still quite solid, but again, we'll reassess that in January, and we'll see how we get on. Lepal, he is on the bench here, but he will start quite a few games as well. I'll be rotating quite a bit between these two strikers. It's just a case of needing just that extra bit of quality anytime Lepal may not be having his best game. And listen, 84 rated at 28 years old, it's not bad, but having an 85 rated 28-year-old to also rotate around with, it just gives us more to work with. And when winning the Champions League, as we saw in 1999 with Manchester United, sometimes you just need to have those rotation players to take you to that next level when things may not be going the way you expect them to. So I'm really, really happy with this team, but without further ado, allow me to show you how much we paid for players, and also let me show you how much we sold players for. So this is really, really fucking annoying. Jérôme Chatelain, we sold at 84 rated. Real Madrid paid his release clause, 130 million. I had no problem leaving that release clause in there, because as much as I liked him, he didn't get involved as much as I would like him to. I think he only got like 3 goals or something last season and a few assists, so I thought, you know what, I wouldn't be against selling him for that amount of money. But he's barely played for Real Madrid, and he's already shot up to a 91 rating, and he's worth almost 200 million. That is super frustrating, but we did get a pretty penny for him, and now we'll be coming up against him in the Champions League. So as well as Maurice Rocket Richard coming back to haunt us, this guy could be as well, which is very, very frustrating. But look, it's not a big deal, because we've reinvested the money well, including bringing this man in, Jeremy Doku, 92.5 million to sign him from Brighton. A little bit over his estimated value, but still, I don't think too bad of a price. Very, very excited to use him this season. Again, I wanted to bring him in last season, we just didn't have the means to pull it off, so better late than never, and hopefully he can be pivotal for us in hopefully winning the Champions League. Same with this guy here, Johan Bakayoko. Annoyingly, his value has actually gone down since we signed him. We got him for 83 million, and I think he was worth around 75 million when we signed him. And annoyingly, he's gone down to 64.5 million. Not too sure why that is. He's in the prime of his career. He's a very strong player at an 85 rating. It's a bit of a weird one, but still, 83 million was the price we paid to bring him into the team, and from what I've seen from some of the simmed league games, he's been doing quite well, so I'm really excited to use him myself. Evan Gressan has joined fellow Ligue 1 team Lyon for 58.5 million. You know what? For somebody who I wasn't overly impressed with, I will take that any day of the week. He's worth 42.5, and we got quite a bit over that as well. So ideally, I would have liked to have sold him to a team outside of France, but you know what? For nearly 60 million, I think I can get over it. I think for his replacement, we've done quite a good bit of business here with Jonathan David. 56 million from Brentford, which is actually less than his transfer value, and it's less money than we sold Gressan for, so I'm very, very happy with this. As I said, Lepal will still play a big part. I just feel like I needed another option up front, and the Canadian striker, I think, definitely gives us that edge. I was a little bit sad about Thibaut Summers. We signed him in the first season. I was on the fence about this, I really was, because I do think he was a decent backup option, but I wanted to raise as much money as I could. I just felt like 77 rated at 29 years old, and looking at some of the players I needed to bring in, I didn't want him rotting away in the reserves, so we sold him to Wolfsburg for $13 million. Best of luck for the future, Thibaut Summers, a cult hero here on this channel and in this series. And speaking of the Bundesliga, that is where we signed this man from, Cisse, 11.5 million for a backup midfielder. Siddiqui is still the main man off the bench, or who will be on the bench, I should say, in the centre midfield. But I just felt like away from Siddiqui, we didn't have many great backup options for the midfield, so Cisse for me fits that bill perfectly. And look, I won't bore you with the rest of them. We had a load of youth academy players who I decided to get rid of just to bring up as much funds as possible. Some of these lads look like they have decent potential. I think if we go into one or two of their values here and statuses, yeah, like this guy here, showing great potential, they might go on to have decent careers, but we're only doing one more season. I didn't really feel like there was much of a need to hold on to them. And listen, we got a decent chunk of change for each of them. So, you know, they served a purpose in that way, if not on the pitch. But the transfer business may not be over just yet. This man, pun very much intended, is on red alert. Kevin Owens, as brilliant as he's been, he is a bit of a hothead and he loves to get sent off. And look at that transfer value. 273.5 million. If I find he's still a liability and his ill discipline can cost us these big Champions League games in January, I will not be afraid to put him up for sale, and we can reinvest that money not just back into the defence but back into the whole squad. But I am very, very confident that with the squad we have, we can do something here in the Champions League. But it's really good to know that we will not be struggling for money if we need to reinvest back in this squad. And just look at some of these values. GSP, 283.5 million. Sami Zayn, 262.5. His market value has somehow gone down by 2%. That's really weird. Zaire Emery, 154. CDK, 104.5. Kanate, 82.5. Doku, 80 million, or Doku, however you say it. But still, regardless of how you pronounce it, we have some incredible transfer values here. So I will be keeping an eye on Kevin Owens. Hopefully we won't need to sell him, but it is something that is a possibility depending on his ill discipline and whether he can stay out of trouble or not. But that all remains to be seen in this upcoming season, lads. A very, very quick episode here. As I said, this was more of a preview than it was anything else. That's why I'm uploading it on Sunday instead of Monday. But the first gameplay episode of Season 5 will be available tomorrow. It'll be back at the usual time, 7 PM Irish/UK time. I will be premiering the episode. I will be in the live chat as well. So pop in and say hi if you are around as it's going out. And we'll be kicking things off away from home here against Slavia Praha, and then we will be welcoming Real Madrid to the Olympic Stadium for the second year running. Hopefully we get a better result this time around than what we did last year. So this week as well, I'm actually going to slightly change the schedule. I'm going to do an episode every day this week bar Friday, because of course on Friday that's when we do our live streams. Also as well, a big thank you to everybody who tuned into that live stream on Friday, Jotar Rising. Really, really means a lot that people are coming in and supporting the channel. We had some great conversations, so I really, really do appreciate it. That of course will be going ahead again this Friday. Leave the time with me for now. I did have to push it back half an hour very, very close to when I was streaming last week, so I will let you know closer to the time what time we'll officially be starting, but we will be live streaming again this coming Friday. So again, do pop in and say hi if you're around. But lads, as I said, the first gameplay episode will be tomorrow. Very, very excited about it. I can't believe we're coming into the last season of a manager career mode in FC25. What a journey it's been, and for me, the only way to wrap it up properly would be to win another Champions League title. Thank you all for tuning in. Very much looking forward to tomorrow. Please do hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to the channel as well. We're getting closer and closer to 600 subscribers. We'd love to hit it before FC26 comes out. Au revoir and take care.